Yeah, she had surgery.
Yes, see?
So, what was your favorite part?
I like museums because it makes me want to do stuff. It makes me want to go try and do something that small and that cool. Oh.
Okay.
So what was your favorite part?
I really liked the Asian art, all the Indian art, like with
With all
the whole religious
there's a name for them.
things.
You can tell she does no research. There's a name for them because it was for meditation. There's the one with
And then they had all
the
these
scenes.
super intricate little scenes from this guy's life. I don't know, it was probably a god or something. And it was huge and tiny. You just stare at it and you would be praying.
A real meditation aid. Very, very cool.
So cool.
But if you think about before the Renaissance, all the art was in the churches and for religious reasons.
Yeah.
Representations of gods and things like that, because it was hard to make and you had to have the money and there had to be a reason, often you're living hand to mouth, there had to be a reason for someone to dedicate their lives to something that was not specifically feeding them and keeping them shelter. So they had to have the patronage of something very awesome, such as a congregation of religious people. Or, you know, a really big reason to make it. So it took a while for us to think, oh, we could do this just for fun and make pretty pictures. It was kind of interesting to come to the contemporary and go back towards less. If you think about the progression of Western art that went from the icons and those stark symbolic figures that weren't necessarily supposed to be representing real life but expressed something, and then go through the whole period of, oh, you know, we can make this look like it's skin or the paper is coming straight off the canvas, and then come back to the contemporary world where people are playing with different ways of expressing things without it being so literal. It's like people are trying to find how to express things non-literally now, and they're playing stuff. I like that about the contemporary art scene, even if I don't understand certain movements.
Then there was the
scribbling.
scribbling. Alright, we gotta tell that
I have
story.
to tell this story.
So we go into this room that was full of these massive canvases that were scribbles, which were supposed to illustrate the Aeneid. Anyway, we were coming out of this. A little boy was going in the opposite
little
direction.
voice pipes up.
He's like 5 years old, right? And he goes in and he goes, oh, now we're getting to the scribbling.
Oh, yay, the scribbling.
And of course, everyone around starts like laughing out loud. And his mom was just like,
Props to those parents. I have to say, one, because your kid knows the place well enough to know he is coming to this part that he remembers. Okay? I mean, secondly, I mean, he's talking about it and stuff. I mean, art critic in the making, right? This is a layman's analysis, but there were a bunch of pictures where there was a portrait of a man with violin. And then I think the one on the left was portrait of man with cello. And then the one on the right was portrait of man with guitar. And then the one on the far right was a still life with guitar and violin, I think. But the picture was very fragmented. It was a very geometric, you know, abstract painting. But I was wondering if it was that he was trying to express the sound of the various instruments in the way they were chopped up. Because the violin seemed to be a lot more fragmented than, for instance, the cello, which is a smoother, less jittery instrument. If that's maybe what he was trying to express with how he painted it, was how it sounded. I don't know. We moved on. One of the things I really like about physical painting and drawing is that you choose your point of view. If you have a picture where everything is in crystal clear clarity, which is a certain style, which is nice, can be done very well. But it feels like it doesn't have focus or emotion. I mean, you got the painting that has the focus on what you want. If it's a portrait, it's generally the eyes. But in other things, it might be something else. And in the case of the oboe player, it was just very shadowy, and all the detail was on like his mustache and his beard and his hands.
Yeah,
on the
specifically
oboe.
his hands.
And it was pretty cool. Someday, go if you have the chance. If you don't like art, that's like even more reason for you to go to Rome and just wander around randomly in the churches. Well, it's just so important to see art in a context. I thought that was kind of cool in the Philadelphia Museum, how they had like a room or two that was kind of set up. It was set up more in a gallery style, but it's really cool to see art in a different context than a gallery, because an art is supposed to be for the people. It's supposed to show you another dimension of the world that you are in. I think having galleries are awesome, but I think it's more important to have art in your life. But for me personally, art is what happens in the intersection between skill and expression. So if something is very easy and very expressive, I might not necessarily consider it art. Communication, yes, but not maybe art. And if something takes a heck of a lot of skill but isn't saying anything, then I would not actually call it art. And I think a lot of things people call art are under that category. Okay, now you need a closing comment.
Don't show the messy room!
Oh, behind the scenes! This is the life behind the vlogger! Schoolwork that you should be doing. So do you have a closing art comment?
Closing art comment. I've been inspired. Now I will try to make time through my school to do it, because honestly, it's school. You have to get it done. And art is very time consuming. I mean, you can work for hours on something. And I need that time for school. But now, I will try to make time in my busy schedule. No, never mind, this isn't happening. I'm just gonna have to wait until summer. I don't have very much to say, so this will be titled Maria and My Visit to the Museum. But only Maria talks about it.